Coming up in today's video, I give you a huge Casper update because unfortunately the poor boy got hurt and we had to call the vet. Also, while I do that, we go through our recent Groom Tack Up and Arrive With Me video where we go somewhere new. Casper has a little bit of a meltdown at a river and we also get a little bit lost. Everybody, and welcome back to another video and happy new year. Today's video is actually my first one of 2026. However, I'm not gonna lie to you, this was actually pre-recorded. I filmed this I think back in November. December has been a busy month with Christmas, the London International Horse Show. There was a lot going on, so I have been good to myself and I have pre-recorded a few different videos. So here I am just putting Joey in his stable while I then go and grab Mr. Casper, who I am actually going to be giving a full-on Casper update because it just wouldn't be a year without at least one of my horses deciding for me to basically do an emergency vet call. So anyway, don't worry, we're going to be getting all into that. But in today's video, you might be able to see that I am taking Casper to the forest. I'm going to take him on a beautiful ride. We're also going to do a new trail that I have never done before. We might also get a little bit lost as well. And also in true Casper fashion, he is absolutely dirty, absolutely filthy. So it's time to give him a good old groom. You might also be thinking, Esme, why have you put your other horse Joey in his stable? Now Joey, he actually gets a little bit nervous being out in the paddock on his own. So he actually has some stable time while I take Casper out, just because he's happier. Also, it's some time for him to go and have a nap, have a little bit of a chill, have some afternoon lunch, because I was riding at midday on this particular day because, oh my goodness, it gets dark so much earlier. But good news, guys, now on, it's getting lighter each day. We've had the shortest day, that's gone and been, so it's getting lighter. Spring is on the way. It doesn't feel like it because, again, on this day that we were recording, you cannot see, but it was actually so cold. But that's what I keep telling myself. I keep telling myself that spring is on the way. Anyway, it's now time to give you the full rundown, what's happened with Casper, because on this video that you're seeing right now, he, in real life at home, he does not look like this. So Casper, bless him, the other day, it was any old ordinary day and I went and got Casper up from his paddock, brought him in, and when I put his head collar on in his paddock, I thought, oh dear, what have you done? Now, I feel like every horse owner has gone through that phase where they take, well, maybe it's just me, maybe my horses are just super accident prone, but anyway, brought Casper and I thought, what have you done, you silly boy? Now, from this kind of reaction, you might be thinking, Esme, this isn't super serious. If you were like, oh, silly boy, what have you done? Rather than going, oh my goodness, call the vet, emergency. Don't worry, that happens later on. Now, I know some people are super squeamish, so don't worry, I'm not going to be talking about anything in graphic detail or showing any photos, but I brought Casper in from the field and he had the tiniest, or what looked like the tiniest little cut on his forehead. There really wasn't much, I'm going to say, the red stuff. If you know, you know, because I don't want this video to get demonetized and YouTube to get angry at me and take me off the community guidelines because, oh my goodness, I don't know if you saw in one of my previous videos recently I talked about it, but I had a video where I was doing a very educational video all about me mucking out, cleaning out the horse's stable, and apparently that was against the community YouTube guidelines because there was just too much horse muck in it, and I was like, this is an educational video, what do you mean? So anyway, that was very sad. That video has now been banned from my channel, so RIP that video. But anyway, back to Casper. Don't worry, nothing graphic, not going to be talking about anything nasty. YouTube, please don't demonetize me, please don't delete this video. Anyway, so poor Casper boy had a little cut on his forehead. Not much of the red stuff at all, so I thought, oh, you know, it's not that serious. Had a little look. Now, you've got to remember here, Casper is a very fluffy boy. He is a very hairy boy. So I from what I could see in between the fluff, it looked all right. So I wanted to get a second opinion. Called up my dad, who was in the office at the time, and said, hey, Casper's got a little cut on his forehead. Do you mind coming along, having a little look, giving it an examine? Because if you didn't know, he has a little bit of a medical background. So I was like, perfect, I can get the professional here to have a look at it. So he comes in, has a little better look at it, opens up the fluff, and goes, again, I'm not going to make this any squeamish, but basically, let's just say the cut was deeper than expected. So, number one, I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, Casper, how on earth have you done this? Because at first I thought, oh, it was a little cut that maybe, you know, scratched his head against one of the fence posts, that kind of thing. And then after that, it was like, okay, emergency vet call, quick, we need to call the vet. Something's not right. Casper's got hurt. So anyway, poor Caspy boy then had the vet come out to him. Also, this was in, you know, Christmas holidays as well. So lovely jubbly. I feel like horses, they always know the best times to get hurt. When you need to call the vet, it's either on a weekend or it's literally just gone past like their opening hours and it's like a night call or something like that. It's always the way, but the main thing is Casper's health, well-being, and if I have to pay extra for an emergency call out, that's fine. So anyway, called the vet came out, and Casper had some lovely sleepy juice while they sorted out his noggin, his poor little forehead. So he, at the moment, I will insert a picture, which is not graphic YouTube, don't worry, but Casper looks like he has a little Christmas star. Very fitting. I've also been calling him Bock, because if any of you guys have seen Wicked, Bock, who turns into the Tin Man, Casper looks a little bit like him because he has a silver forehead. It looks like he's kind of turning into a robot or a Tin Man or whatever. But anyway, he has a little Christmas star. He also has some staples, so we weren't sure if it was going to need stitches or glue or whatever. But anyway, he's had some staples in his forehead, which is lovely. So anyway, while all that was happening, he was obviously on the lovely sleepy happy juice, and was a very good boy. And actually, since then, he has had his staples taken out. And I tell you what, he was such a good boy that he didn't need any sedation or happy juice or sleepy juice while he had his staples taken out. So well done, Casper. What a good boy he was. So anyway, since then, we were thinking to ourselves, how on earth has the poor boy done this to himself? Now, there are a few little scenarios that we went through our head. We don't think it was a hoof, because that was probably our first thought, was maybe it was a hoof, maybe it was a shoe or one of the nails in like Joey's shoe or his shoe. But the thing was, his forehead had no mud on it at all, so it was like, well, he's not been kicked, it's not that, he's not been bitten, because it didn't look like that at all. And we do know that one of Casper's favourite things to do is scratch his head on things, so sometimes that's Joey's bottom, not Joey's favourite thing, but you know what, they do it to each other. We've actually, on Casper's like wound, we've been putting some Sudocreme on his forehead. Now it's all healed and it's just kind of scabbing and that kind of thing, some wound cream. And it's so funny because Joey's rug, because they're turned out together in a field, because Casper will scratch his head on Joey's rug is now covered in Sudocreme as well, so we can see where Casper's been, where the culprit's been. But anyway, so we think he must have scratched it against one of the fences or the fence line. We've checked the whole fence line. There are no sticking out nails, nothing at all that we think he could have scratched it on. Maybe there was like a splinter that he scratched it on. Like, honestly, we're not sure at all, especially as the paddock that they're in, most of the fence line is actually electric fence, so he's obviously not going to be scratching his head against that. While his wound was also scabbing over, Casper has recently been turned out in his paddock in a fly mask. Now, one of the reasons is obviously to try and stop it getting muddy and stop it getting like dirty and all that kind of stuff. But also, one of the funniest things, I don't know if anybody else has had a non-equestrian come up to them and say, why is your horse blindfolded? Because every summer, without a shadow of a doubt, there is at least one delivery driver that comes to our farm to like drop off a parcel or something like that. And every summer there is at least one that says, why is your horse blindfolded? It's actually normally Toby. It's so sweet. One of our delivery drivers sometimes brings carrots for Toby, our donkey, which I just think is the cutest thing ever. Obviously they ask permission, like, hey, can I give your donkey a carrot or give it some treats, which of course we're like, yeah, that's fine. He can get all the love and attention and snackies, but obviously some horses, I actually know a horse that's allergic to carrots. How wild is that? So yeah, always be careful when giving horses that you don't know or don't belong to you snacks, because sometimes, you know, they could have an allergy to it, or they could be on a really strict veterinary diet. You never know. If in doubt, always ask. So anyway, I just think that's so sweet that our delivery driver loves coming in, you know, saying hi to the animals. But anyway, moving on. So yes, Casper has been turned out in the winter with his summer shades on, which I find quite funny. But anyway, that's the little Casper update for you. He has a very weird looking forehead that is silver. Actually, this happened a little while ago now, so the silver is actually starting to fade away. Oh, I haven't even told you what the silver is. So the silver is this special kind of spray that's like anti-bac and obviously makes it all clean. Also, here on this ride, I thought Casper was stopping to spook at something, when actually he just needed a little bit of a toilet break. Hopefully, YouTube will allow that clip. I really am I'm testing the YouTube community guidelines today, guys. Also, he spotted some horses up there on the trails, so I managed to just about zoom in and spot them on my phone, which one thing I've got to say is I am actually very impressed with my new phone's zoom. That is the one reason why, well, actually my old phone was packing up, so I did treat myself to a new one, and also for my job I use it like all the time. We also had a big old stair at this little cornered off wall here, but anyway, yeah, the zoom is so good, which for horse shows coming up in 2026, I'm excited, like filming from far away. Also, I love spying on my horses with it and like filming them from up in the office and filming them in their paddocks and really like zooming on in. You also see that there's a little bit of frost still left on some of the ground here, because as I said before, it was literally freezing this day. I think it was like maybe -1. Anyway, I was all wrapped up, ready to go. Casper was also wrapped up. Actually, not really, but he's still quite fluffy. I do need to clip him again, and now he's got his dodgy looking like clipped forehead, like part of it obviously to clean everything, put his staples in, they had to clip basically exactly where his kind of star is. Even though actually that's one thing I always think about, because I have no baby photos of Casper. I would love to see like what he would have looked like as a foal, because obviously he would have been born maybe like a bay or maybe like a black horse, a bit like Joey, but Casper actually like greyed out or whited out, whatever you want to call it, really quickly. Also, this clip here of us cantering away, it looks so perfect. It almost looks AI. It's just that beautiful. Maybe that's just me, but with the lens flare, and oh my goodness, this was one of those rides where I was just like, oh my goodness, what is life? This is so stunning. Every now and again, you just need to go on a horse ride, go for a little ride in the forest, go somewhere beautiful, and just chill out with your horses. Because I think sometimes, especially like with January and it's New Year's, everyone's gonna be like, New Year, new me. I need to go out. I need to go and do all these competitions. When actually, sometimes, you know, in life, just go for a nice ride. Just go for a little chilled one. It's great fun. Anyway, I've really gone off topic. If you didn't know, I have a podcast called Esme's Country Life. Go and listen to it. It's on all the podcast platforms. I also have a little YouTube channel with all of the video format as well, and it's also video format on Spotify as well, if you want to hear me chatting away, which basically is what I've done with today's video, because I thought, you know what, with my groom tech up and ride with me's, you guys, if you know the drill, you've seen my routines, you know this is me grooming, this is me riding along. Also, this clip here, I am just going to describe it because you might be thinking, did Casper just turn around and bolt with you? No, basically we got a little bit lost, and I saw after that bridge, which number one, I thought Casper is not going to want to cross that bridge. I literally, I was going to say, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We got to the bridge and I thought, no thank you. But also just past the bridge there was a gate and a fence saying private property, so did we get a little bit lost? Yes. So when I turned around I thought, you know what, this is a lovely hill, let's have a lovely canter up there. So don't worry, Casper didn't just bolt off without me. He did just have a little zoomies that I asked for. So anyway, back to where I was saying, I have been waffling away over these clips on today's video, and if you listen to my podcast, you will know that I love a little chat, I love a little ramble, giving you an update on the horses. Also, if you do listen to my podcast, you will have already heard this story, but you know what, we're saying it in a little bit more detail here, and also you get to see me have a beautiful ride with Casper here on a little trail that we've never been on before. But anyway, as I was saying before I was, did my little podcast promo, because that's one thing that I am not very good at. That is probably part of my 2026 resolutions, is that I need to get better at promoting myself and promoting all the things that I do, because I feel like my YouTube audience maybe doesn't know about some of the other things that I do, and vice versa on my other social media platforms. But anyway, I'm not very good at bigging myself or bragging about myself, so anyway, I need to get better at that. Moving on, what I was saying before that with Casper and his little clipped Christmas star that he has on his forehead is I am actually going to have to, I'm doing a video coming out soon where it's giving my horse Joey a glow up, but I feel like Casper also needs a glow up because he has got so hairy again. I don't actually know, this boy grows hair like no tomorrow. I mean, he is a native pony, he is a Connemara, which one of my top asked questions actually is, what is my favourite horse breed? And you know what, I think I've got to say Connemara ponies. That's my normal go-to answer when people ask me this, because I'm not gonna lie, there are so many incredible horse and pony breeds out there, and it is really tricky to pick one, and I feel like I've got to pick one of a horse that I have, aka Casper, and Joey is technically a crossbreed because Joey is a thoroughbred cross warm blood, so I feel like definitely Joey has some like thoroughbredy attributes and some warm blood attributes, but I think I've got to say Connemara ponies, I mean, they are brilliant. They are great all-rounders. I mean, Casper is like a slightly chunkier Connemara, so obviously you can get slightly like sportier looking ones, skinnier kind of ones. Casper is, no offense Casper, but he's not quite a skinny legend, but he's very, you know what, he has, well, actually this is quite ironic that I'm saying this on this video where we had to call the vet, but in my lifetime of having Casper, he's a sturdy guy. I'm going to touch some wood here in the office while I'm doing this voiceover, but touch wood, he's never been lame. Like, he's just got slightly chunkier legs. He's just a great all-rounder, great at doing a little bit of everything. Also here, when we were riding along, we had an absolute meltdown at this stream. But you know what? After about, 40 seconds of me being like, you know what, mate, you can do it. I believe in you. I know it's really scary, but you can do it. He just hopped over it like nothing. So you can see why I haven't done much. Well, actually, back in the day, I did quite a lot of cross country with Casper, with my pony club and that kind of thing. But you can see why I never evented him, because the one hurdle that we would fail at would be the water complex or the water jump. Casper does not like water. He does not like getting his toes wet, but he does like a bath. So anyway, back to bathing and giving my other horse Joey a glow up. I think we need to give Casper a glow up as well, so maybe I do a little Casper glow up video as well with him, because I don't know what I need to do with his forehead. I would love to hear your guys' suggestions in the comments, because at the moment Casper has this clipped out bit on his forehead that is shorter and kind of shaved or clipped compared to the rest of his face. And if you know Casper, you will know Casper has the fluffiest, hairiest face known to man. He looks like a woolly mammoth, which I think is adorable. And normally when I clip my horses, I give them a full clip, but I do quite like to leave their legs and leave their face as a little bit of protection, because the other parts of their body you can put a rug on and keep them as snug as a bug in a rug. But I think I might have to clip Casper's face because, well, there's two options. I can either wait till the spring and Casper just have this weird shaved patch on his forehead for the rest of the winter, because in the spring he'll get his summer coat and he'll molt or shed out all of his winter fluff, or I can attempt to clip Casper's face. Now, Casper is very good at being clipped. He just stands there. I could literally clip him without a head collar on. He's all happy, ready to go. But the issue is I've never clipped his face before, and obviously his face is a slightly more sensitive area, so I don't know, should I clip his face? I'm gonna see, actually, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna put an ear bonnet on him. Maybe if I can find an ear bonnet that has like a slightly longer like head flappy bit, that is definitely not the correct terminology, but you know what I mean. It might be able to cover up the clipped patch because it's not a good look. And if I want to take him out and do things, or I'm just thinking it's not going to be long now, guys, until we need to film the spring summer collection for Lemure, and they're going to be ringing me up and they're going to be like, Esme, you need to do some photos for us, it's your job, this is what we pay you to do. And I'm going to be like, guys, we're going to have to either do some major Photoshop on Casper's forehead, or we're going to just have to use Joey. Joey's going to have to take one for the team and be the only model horse, because poor Casper, he's got a little bald spot at the moment. And you know what? It doesn't make him any less cute. I still think he's adorable, but I don't think he's quite catalogue ready. So anyway, that was our lovely little ride. Also here I made sure to check, I basically quadruple checked. I just was checking the whole time when crossing the road, because I was like, I do not want my poor horse to be run over by a car, or myself in that fact. Anyway, Davide, my dad, very kindly came over and was like, hey, how was your ride? He always likes to hear the goss. He's like, how was your ride? What happened? Did you have any major struggles? And to tell you what, it was actually a slightly undramatic ride today. There was a few things that Casper spooked at, like the wall and also the river that we managed to cross. And also right at the end, you might have seen that we were really going through the gorse, or all the kind of yellow flowers you would have seen. Basically, there was one point where it was taller than us, and I really was regretting my life decisions, because I thought, oh my goodness, I really should have checked the map a little bit more before planning this trail, because obviously never been around that area before. And I think we accidentally went through a deer path, which basically meant that, yeah, we weren't really on the trail, we were just going where the deer like to walk. And I really thought, so many times I went around the corner and it was thicker and thicker, the bush and the gorse, and I thought, we are going to have to turn around and go all the way back, because we're going to get to a dead end. So when I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, or the field at the end of the gorse, I thought, oh my goodness, we've done it, we've finessed it. I do feel like I have some luck when it comes to not getting lost on trails. But anyway, thank you so much everyone for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed hearing, or maybe not so much enjoyed hearing, because poor Casper has had a bit of head trauma, but I hope you enjoyed today's video, hearing my little Casper update, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!